in today's episode, I really want to talk about the law of assumption. Now, these are teachings that I have learned through the years from amazing mentors such as Napoleon Hill. We can talk about Bob Proctor. I mean, there's so many people. Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of my favorite if you guys have been following along. And in this overall journey, I feel like there's so many things that we can learn from each other. And I do believe that the more that you grow as a community, the more that all of those things just continue to help you in your journey, which is why I personally believe that you should never glorify somebody else. You should never make them feel as if they are better than you, because they're not better than you and you're not better than anybody. We can all grow together. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Walking Manifestator. I'm your host, Alexa Peña. And with that being said, if you are new to the podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube, in this podcast, we're really focusing on techniques that you can implement for your self-development journey. Now, more specifically, how to use manifestation techniques to really help you embody the best and highest version of yourself. Now, with that being said, in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about the law of assumption. Now, there's certain laws, okay? And I want to simplify this as much as possible, because if I would have been listening to this, I'm going to say 6 years ago, I would have listened to this episode as if the person was crazy. But if you're following along, you're probably in a journey of manifestations and self-development, so you're probably on the right page right now. One of the things that I personally would identify with a lot is that I remember thinking of things and slowly finding the stepping stones that were guiding me in the right direction. Now, at that time, I didn't know anything about manifestations. I didn't know much about the laws of the universe. I didn't know much about energies. Man, I didn't even believe that I was this conscious being. I believed that I was my thoughts, and I believed that what I had gone through in my life were things that were going to hold me back. However, something very interesting was happening. As I started surrounding myself with people that were creating things that for me were my dream, things such as owning a home, things such as creating over $100,000 a year, things that for some people might have been very normal because they grew up with those things. For myself and for my background, growing up with the paradigm that I had, those things were not normal. I didn't have parents that were, the influences in my life. I grew up with my grandparents, for those of you that have followed along on the first episode, and a lot of these beliefs came from their beliefs based off their family and how they were raised. My grandma, she had a family of 18 brothers and sisters, so obviously things were very different. And the reason I share this is because I have learned that whether we are manifesting intentionally or subconsciously and in a very unconscious way, what's happening is that our life is giving us exactly what we're perceiving in our mind. What you perceive, you will receive. And in the laws of the universe, it's something that a lot of people, as we continue to evolve as a species, we are recognizing that there's universal laws that at one point were labeled as crazy, but nowadays a lot of people have placed a lot of trust in science, right? Which I'm a firm believer of science, but I also believe, and if you guys have not looked into the double slit experiment, I highly recommend you do. But I believe there's things that science can't even explain, but because they want things to be digestible for people, because what we don't know, we are afraid of, they try and put numbers to the equation, and they try and put stories to the equation to make it something that you can identify and feel comfortable with. And the reason that's interesting is because as science has evolved, as our consciousness has evolved, what has happened is that we have been given the opportunity to better understand that there's things that we simply cannot see that exist. And the reason this is important is because if you believe in gravity, right? I think that we can all, it's safe to assume that you believe in this because you are, right now sitting or standing and you're not floating, right? The interesting part of that is that as we continue to uncover how universal laws are actually things that have been passed down by our ancestors and have been given to us as tools to really live in a state of harmony and peace, even in situations where we're experiencing contrast, we are able to start using these techniques in situations that can help us grow and therefore manifest a life of abundance. So the law of assumption is one that I personally find very interesting because as I was sharing, I didn't realize that I was manifesting. However, now looking back in those situations where I was asking universe, source, God, all of the above for more guidance, right? For just anything that was going to help me really align with that end goal that honestly I didn't even know what that end goal was. I just knew that I wanted to provide a better quality of life for my kid. All I knew is that I did not want to struggle the way that I had struggled when I was little, and I wanted something better. And very unintentionally, I was manifesting more opportunities. And as those opportunities happened, I was able to really open my awareness to taking that opportunity and doing something with it. The law of assumption is one of the principles that you really want to start embodying in order for you to attract more synchronicities, more abundance, more fulfillment into your life. So I'll give you an example. If you are somebody that is constantly, let's say, surrounding yourself with negative people, and you're somebody that is constantly assuming the worst in people, if you are somebody that is constantly telling yourself, oh my gosh, I just don't have enough money and I am barely getting out of one situation when I'm already getting into another situation that is just depleting my finances, what you're doing is signaling to the universe that that is what you are in harmony to. Let's say you find this beautiful soulmate that you believe is your soulmate, right? You already gave them a label. You're already like, oh my gosh, I could spend the rest of my life with this person. They're amazing. And all of a sudden, they're not talking to you anymore. And now what you're doing in a situation like that, as an example, let's say you go one of two ways. Either you go to the far left, being you're like whatever about it and you completely leave it alone, or you go to the far right and now you're like blowing up their phone because you're like, why didn't you reply to me? Why didn't you text me back? Why didn't you call me back? What's happening there is that you are coming from a state of lack. You're coming from a state of I am not enough, and you're coming from a state of I demand a answer. I demand that you do X, Y, and Z because this is what I deserve. What you're doing in that moment is that you're actually pushing yourself further out from the end goal. And a lot of the times people don't realize this. What they're doing is that instead of going back internally and working on themselves and seeing, what can I learn from this situation? A lot of the times the universe is like literally moving somebody out of your way in order for you to have just learned something from this event that happened and now move forward to the next opportunity. But what you do is that you get so stuck and so consumed on that one person that you wanted to have that life with, and now you're chasing this person. You're not an energetic vibration to them. You get them back in your life, let's say forcefully, because you were begging and, oh my gosh, like, please talk to me or whatever it is. And maybe that person feels bad. And now what you just did is that you created an imbalance in energy. Now, this is important because if you're looking to create more abundance, if you are looking to be in harmony with your end result, maybe you have a new business and you're trying to bring more clients. If you are coming from a lack mentality, what you're doing is that you're repelling people away. Now, the law of assumption is super important because you want to start acting like if what you are seeking for is already done. This is so important in your manifestation journey, self-development journey, because what's happening is that you need to learn how to be thankful for the things that you already have in your life in order for you to signal to the universe, thank you for all the blessings, thank you for all the opportunities, thank you for all the abundance. Therefore, the universe is creating more of those experiences for you in a positive way. You see, if you would have told me this again 6 years ago, I would have looked at you like that is crazy. Why are you going to sit here and tell me that by thinking positive things, things are going to happen for me in a more coherent way? However, this is why we're sharing with you the science part. We have seen through history that we are indeed energy. And your energy is going to go where your attention is. If you're focusing on the wrong things in life, you're going to receive more of that negativity in your life. And if you don't take my word for it, go and do your own research. I've done many years of research at this point to just better understand. And you can see the most successful people, from, Steve Jobs to, Elon Musk to Alexander Graham Bell, all these people, they had a vision in their mind that people called them crazy for, yet they did not allow that to dictate who they were. And there's an interesting theory, which is all routes are going to lead you to the destination that you are seeking. So if you're seeking to create more abundance in your business, it doesn't matter what route you take, you will land in that destination as long as you're doing the work. It's the compound effect. A lot of small little negative actions are going to lead you in a negative way. A lot of small actions are going to lead you into a positive way that are aligned with your vision. If you sit here every day and you eat ice cream for bed and chips, more than likely you know where that's going to take you. Now, this is something that personally I have seen in my life really help me manifest more opportunities into my life. And as I have learned to really use the law of assumption in my advantage, I have realized that more synchronicities and more opportunities, more people that are vibrating at the same frequency as me continue to appear in my life. And I remember at one point I would listen to people talk about how, oh, I manifested these people into my life that helped me grow my business and things just kind of like took off from there. And I was like, that's just crazy. Like, you're going to sit here and tell me that you're going to manifest people that are going to help you get in alignment. Okay. And then I was like, what's the best that can happen? Like, it works. Like, might as well try it. And it's crazy to me now because I kid you not, every single client that I work with is in alignment with my energy. I have yet, from the past 2 years that I really embodied these principles, to work with somebody that I was not happy to work with. And you see, when I first started in real estate, I remember working with people that I didn't necessarily align with. I was coming from a lack mentality. I was coming from, I'm growing, I am going to settle for whatever it is that I can get. And if people are rude, it's just what it is, and that's okay. I wasn't setting my thermostat, my limit, my overall, my standard, right? What I am willing to stand for. And I realized that as that continued to grow and my perception of myself continued to grow because I saw the value that I brought to the table, more people that truly needed my help, but that had good hearts, that had good intentions, started to come into my life. You see, so I want to share with you 3 affirmations that you want to share with yourself every day, and feel free to customize this as you feel. This is just a quick little template for you to use in your journey that's going to really help you start aligning with better frequencies. The first one I want to share with you today is, I'm thankful for all the opportunities that I continue to receive. I am thankful for all the wisdom I have. I am so thankful for all the beautiful souls I am here to assist in their journey. That last one is special for me because I actually recently went out to have aura photography done. If you have not had aura photography, it's a really beautiful experience. And if you are local in El Paso, I have an amazing soul that does aura photography here. And that's actually part of the reason why I definitely see how you start aligning with people from the same energies. But as I went, I saw my aura reading and it was green and yellow. And the funny part about that is that I now know I have, like, call this crazy, but spirit has spoken to me and I am here to help people. I am here to help people awaken to the true power that we all have. And it was interesting because as she was doing my reading for my aura, it's literally actual like science behind it, okay? So before you think this is just crazy stuff, do your research. But you basically put your palm on top of this reader and it tells you your aura, and they take a picture of you and then they just kind of like let you know more about it. And she was sharing with me that I'm a healer, that I am here to assist people, that I am here to aid in the evolution of our human species, right? And I highly identify with that because for me, I strongly believe that people that are spiritual workers, people that are in alignment with wanting to help other people, oftentimes we've been through the hardest, rockiest paths in our life. And that's not by accident. It's because I believe that we're here to share with you that anything is possible, and no matter how hard you've had a life, that you can 100% break free from those limiting beliefs. And as that was happening, I remember just thinking to myself, like, wow, I truly am here to help more people. My aura radiates that. And I say this because whatever it is that you're looking to manifest in your life, you can customize those little templates that I just shared with you. But the point here is you want to act as if all of those things are already done for you. And I know sometimes, like I was talking to a pilot as I was coming back from Miami, and as I was talking to him about, you know, just energy and how you're not your thoughts and how you're the awareness above your thoughts. And he was like looking at me like a little crazy at first. And then he kind of started identifying and like listening to what I had to say. And he wasn't coming from a judgmental place. Like he was actually listening to what my theories were, right? And it was beautiful because I can see that more people can benefit from this. And no matter what path in your life you are, whether you want to live in corporate America, whether you want to become the best nail technician, the best artist, the best whatever it is, living in a state of assuming that everything is done and living in a state of coherency, living in a state of being thankful for all the blessings you have is going to place such a stepping stone in your journey. And the way I see it is, what's the best that can happen? Instead of saying what's the worst that can happen, why not say what's the best that can happen? And test this and see how it can really work for you. Now, 3 key questions that you should ask yourself is, how can I show up as the best version of myself? You see, you don't have any control over others, but you do have control over yourself. And how you choose to show up is extremely important, because you can show up and be like, upset with the world, or you can show up in the best light that you possibly can. Does that mean you're going to be always in harmony and that everything is just going to be butterflies and rainbows? Of course not. But there is a very, very key difference between somebody that's in the spiritual world and actually working on themselves, because you can recognize those triggers, you can recognize those blocks and become aware of them and release them, versus staying in that energy, in that vibration. Number 2, what beliefs are holding you back? You see, that was something that I personally, when I started my coaching program, I wanted to help more people realize what beliefs were holding them back, because a lot of people don't recognize the beliefs that are holding you back. Therefore, you never release them. You keep staying in this little loop and identifying with all the beliefs that your family imposed on you. And the last one is, am I surrounded by the right people? You see, if you're around people that are just holding you back and keeping you in a state of negativity, and people that are out to get other people at all cost, and just not a healthy environment, oftentimes you're going to become that. And I know all about that. I know how easy it can be to use excuses and say, well, that's just who I am. But you need to become the awareness, and you need to listen to your innate calling, your higher consciousness, because we all have it, but sometimes you ignore it. So in this journey, all the power is within you. And that's why manifestations work so much, because all you're doing is harnessing the power, the energy that you already have within yourself. And it is a muscle, okay? Don't expect to go to the gym once and have abs, right? It's in the kitchen where it starts, and then you go to the gym every day and you slowly start building up that muscle. It's the same thing with manifestations, which is why some people, it's very easy for them to manifest things because they feel it, they can just identify with it, and they bring it into their 3D reality. And other people, they're still working on it, and that's okay. We're all on different journeys. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. And with that being said, I want to remind you, visualize, embody, and transcend. Be the walking manifestator you are born to be.